and everyone in computer land, welcome to Tuesday, June 24th, Commissioners Court. We're going to open and it is 9:05. Please mute all your cell phones and electronic devices. Appreciate that. Today, our invocation is going to be by, Randy Schofield from Denton Bible Church, and our pledges will be from Chief Roger White. Please stand.
Well, thank you, Commissioners, and on behalf of the church family at Denton Bible Church, we bring you greetings, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here once again. Please join me as I pray. Father, as we come before you this morning, we just thank you for this wonderful day of life that you have given us. Father, we thank you for the blessing of living in this incredible country, this incredible county that we all call home. So, Father, as this group of commissioners meets today, I pray, dear God, for wisdom and great discernment as they consider these matters before them. Father, we remember that your word says that the government, that they're ministers of good for all of us, and we commit them to you, thanking also of the law enforcement and the first responders that stand in the gap for each of us. And so, Father, we pray as well that you would bless our country. Father, we live in crucial and critical days, yet days of great opportunity. So help us to seize these opportunities and to be good ministers of all that you have given us. And Father, we remember to thank you most of all for all that we have in Christ, and it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Please join me in the pledge to our nation and to our state. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, one, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, sir. Also want to say and make sure everybody keeps the judge in his prayers while he travels for work. All right, we have quite a few public comments today. A couple of them are going to actually be for some of the agenda items, but these are going to be for items that are not on the agenda. And please remember, you have 3 minutes. The first one's going to be Mr. Hyde. Kirk Hyde? No? Okay, we'll come back to him, see if he's, oh, here he comes. Is he wanting for an agenda item? No? No, he's yeah, it's not an agenda item. All right, Mr. Hyde, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I would like to address the Commissioners Court because of my concerns about election integrity and my opposition to the county-wide voting centers. And one of the things that we had that occurred in this last presidential election is a place where we found out that county-wide voting has some inherent problems with integrity. Especially in the area of the secret ballot, where somebody went to a different precinct, quite distant from him in his county where he lived, and he voted in the presidential primary. Of course, he happens to be a very important person in the Republican Party of the state of Texas. And then what happened was people were able to look at the subtotals of the election and found out that there was only one person from his precinct who voted in that other precinct in that primary. And so the subtotal showed there was only one vote for one of the people who ran for president. And they said, well, there's only one vote cast from this precinct and you're the only one who was there. So now we know how you voted. And this caused quite a consternation in the Republican Party of Texas. Is that my time limit?
No, go, sir.
Okay.
That was something else.
All right, I heard a beep. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, but what happened was that they then said, okay, well, they said, we can prove that. And now what's happened is that it has, okay, was that?
No, it's not. Sorry. Sorry for all the disruptions.
Okay, all right, I'm trying not to go.
No, you're
okay,
fine.
Let me just finish up then by saying, now, okay, so we got a problem where someone's secret ballot became compromised because of this natural sort of a thing. Well, what has also happened, sometimes it's not just the action, it's the reaction, and that now some people are being told, well, we're not going to give you some of this very detailed information about the election, because if we do, you might, violate somebody's secret ballot. And so now people are being denied for certain detailed information about election results, you see, and this is not a healthy thing. Is that fraud? Probably not. But still, that's not the healthy way to run an election. So I speak out against the idea of a countywide voting. So thank you very much. I hope I didn't go over.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And the next is Miss Lewis. Can anybody else see the last name there, Miss Lewis? What? McDougal? Miss McDougal? Oh, no? It's not real, anyway. But she's here. That's all that matters.
Hi, my name is Lois McDougall, and I am speaking in opposition to countywide voting centers. The reason we need to be opposed to voting centers is because by pushing all the precincts together into voting centers, it mixes it all up, so you can't quite tell where everything came from. It makes it much more difficult to audit an election. Think of all the different styles that come into a voting center, along with different languages, and then they just all get mixed up. When kept to the precinct, it is much easier to follow the evidence as to who might be committing election fraud or maladministration. We must protect the sanctity of the vote, everyone's vote, because the sanctity of the vote is more important than a voter's convenience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Mr. Cox. And if you would, please state your name and your address for the record. I apologize for the first two that I didn't mention that.
Yes, sir. Name is Michael Cox. Address is 3904 Toads Lane in Carrollton.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm speaking in opposition to the voting centers. I have worked as a poll greeter at one of them since 2022, and I most often have heard the statement from voters who have just finished, tried to vote, as they became frustrated and confused, and some of them angry that they weren't able to vote because they were not in the right location on election day. I most often heard the statement, "I will not vote," and this is maybe I've heard that a dozen times, and I think that that's a shame. It's not the purpose of our elections. The purpose of a countywide voting center is supposed to make it easier, but when I see so many voters frustrated who want to give up, then that's just not the point, and we should do away with these centers, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next is Ms. Jennifer Lane.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Lane. I live in the city of Denton, and I'm here in support of countywide voting on election day. I want to speak to you about some of the experiences as an election worker that we've had, and what we've observed and what has been counted by others. So far in recent times, about 10 to 15% of voters have been turned away, redirected to other polling places on election day. They're confused by the current system because they know that their friends have been voting at certain places and that those places have been lasting, for a couple weeks. There are 99 counties, some of them surrounding our county, that already have election day countywide voting. And voters don't understand the different requirements for early voting and election day voting, and they don't understand that there's a great likelihood that provisional ballots will not be counted. Many voters have been redirected and not, or have filled out a provisional ballot simply because they were in the wrong location. And sometimes when they find out about this, they'll say things like, "This is where I've always come," and so on and so forth. My own experience is that in working one of the primaries, almost all of the voters that were turned away, redirected, and said that sort of thing, said, "This is where I've always voted," were Republican voters. And so that was concerning. For the past several years, I've worked as a clerk and alternate judge, though more often as a volunteer driving voters who show up at the wrong place. In fact, in the last election, I organized 14 other drivers to take voters who went to the wrong place thinking that they could vote there to where they really should go. And finally, at the end of the day, I ended up driving one person who had voted provisionally in a manner that would not be counted, all the way to Little Elm, and the two judges had to talk to each other on the phone to scratch her provisional ballot and let her vote there where she was, at her family, where her family was, and where her real poll was. And all of that could be avoided, all of that extra effort, and lost people being angry and upset because their vote they might not be able to make it to the next location. Some people have even been redirected back to the first location, and after all that runaround have indeed given up and decided just not to vote. So in the 2 hours that I was with this person and I drove to Little Elm, we never discussed how that person would vote, only that I was determined the person would vote. And that person was so grateful, sends me a message every holiday. And who knows how many people haven't made it to their second or third location when they have been redirected. So very much in favor of countywide election day voting, otherwise known as vote centers. And 99 counties in Texas already have it. It's a very good thing. Please adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And Miss Adrienne Taylor Scott.
Good morning, and thank you to the Commissioners Court for allowing me to speak on the record.
Yes, ma'am.
I am for and in support of the countywide election day voting. Thank you for this time, and I look forward to the opportunity to speak again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. 15-second record. Okay, the others are going to be actually on agenda items. And I do see we have a lot of folks in here today, so it's actually really nice. We'll try to get through this pretty quickly. We're going to go ahead and start with the consent agenda, though. Members, are there any items that you want to take off, or do I have a motion to accept as presented?
So moved.
I've got a first from Commissioner Faulkner, a second from Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 2A, approval of order making appointments and any appropriate action. 2B, approval of the July 3rd, 2025 payroll. Thank you. 2C, approval of budget amendment request 101290 for the Public Facilities Department to transfer $10,000 from Bridlewood property, county building repair maintenance to the Cornell building janitorial service to fund the janitorial services for the Cornell buildings and any other appropriate action. Next, we're going to go to the resolutions, and I'm going to pass this over to Commissioner Faulkner for our resolutions today.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. I'm going to go down to the podium and invite each of ours up individually and be right back.
I see Mr. Akins is here. Yes, and then where's Jeff? Okay, there he is. Hello, sir.
All
Yeah,
right.
amongst all his buddies.
Well, why don't we have Robert Akins join me up here? Congratulations. Well, so we are so pleased that you're a master electrician, and that's alone is quite an accomplishment. But you are taking that next step, and you're going to be retiring from the county. I've got this resolution I'd like to read, and then we're going to allow you, and we're going to get your family up here. But if you will, let me just read this resolution. And you know what? I'm going to get my glasses out. All right. The Denton County Commissioners Court, Denton County, Texas, during regular session on the 24th day of June 2025, considered this resolution. Whereas Robert Akins, Public Facilities Master Electrician, began his career with Denton County on June 5th, 1995, and plans to retire on June 27th, 2025, after completing 30 years of exceptional service to the facilities department in Denton County. And whereas Robert has been a dedicated and loyal employee whose exceptional work ethic is unmatched and instinctive, his deep passion for his work is clearly reflected across county properties. Time and again, Robert has placed the needs of Denton County above his own, taking great pride in everything he does. Whereas Robert has delivered an extraordinary level of service, drawing from both his extensive experience and formal education, earning the title of Master Electrician, an achievement that requires 12,000 hours of supervised on-the-job training, and it demonstrates his commitment to excellence. Robert has continued to advance his skills through ongoing education, continually refining his craft. He consistently offers thoughtful guidance and support to those around him. Known for his approachable nature, Robert never meets a stranger and is always eager to share his knowledge. And whereas Robert has distinguished himself as a man of exceptional character and humility, he approaches his work with patience, attention to detail, and a calm, adaptable demeanor, an invaluable asset in his field. I might say it's not very common in that field either. His natural ability to uplift those around him makes him a rare and remarkable presence. A man of deep faith, Robert is always the first to offer a prayer or a word of comfort, showing genuine empathy and care for everyone he encounters. And whereas Robert plans to enjoy his retirement by spending time restoring his classic early 60s Impala, very nice, visiting all the local car shows in DFW each weekend, and going on the occasional vacation, just occasional. Okay, very good. And whereas during his time with Denton County, Robert has faithfully and diligently fulfilled his responsibilities, consistently upholding a high standard of excellence. He can depart with pride knowing that his years of dedicated service have positioned Denton County facilities for continued success. His passion and commitment have left a lasting impact, inspiring and guiding the employees who will carry his work forward. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Denton County Commissioners Court, Denton County, Texas, do hereby extend to Robert Akins our sincere and grateful appreciation for his dedicated service to Denton County. We congratulate Robert on his well-earned retirement and extend our best wishes to him for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. Done in open court this 24th day of June, 2025. And we are going to, we need to actually do that.
Exactly.
Would you
Do I have a first? First by motion, yes. Okay, motion by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Anybody have a discussion?
I do.
Okay, please.
Hi,
We're
Robert.
going to give you the last word.
Yeah.
I've been on Robert for a long time, since I worked in the constable's office. When he first came in, and I was sitting at the desk, and he came in, and going to the back, and I said, hold up, wait a minute, who are you? And Robert, you have been such a great employee for Denton County.
Thank you.
And a great person, a great friend. And I just want to say thank you. Hate to see you go, because you fixed all the problems that we had. And we thank you, but I'm hoping that you'll really enjoy yourself, praying that you'll really enjoy yourself in those cars, loving those cars. We had an Impala that I drove a long time ago, had the hood off of it. But, yeah, cool, huh? But I want to thank you for the service that you've provided to Denton County. Go and have fun. Enjoy. Life is short. We never know when it's going to end. So have fun, but don't forget about us.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bobby. I appreciate it.
Commissioner?
Robert, I have not known you personally, but just listening to the resolution, I know you've been a great employee, 30 years with Denton County, just dealing with electricity mainly, right? Master electricians are really something special, and I thank you for your service, and I thank you for your skills, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Diane.
Dell, would you like to say anything? Please.
First thing I'd like to say is y'all passed this resolution, which I was sad because you could have denied it and he could have stayed with us. So I'll blame that on y'all. I will be needing 2 employees to replace him. Just
That's right.
putting that out there. And Robert, I've known Robert personally for 20 years, worked together, and he has been a great inspiration. Talking to Roger White on the way in this morning, he actually went to school with Robert, and he goes, Robert was the smartest guy in class. And he is. He's a great asset, and we are greatly going to miss him. The one thing I remember about Robert, when I first started with the county, you come in here, you're a little intimidated, especially by a bunch of rough fellows like we work with, they act that way. But Robert came up to me and he asked me, he introduced himself and says, do you have a church family? Do you have a church home? Because I'd like to invite you to church with me if you don't. And I've never forgotten that. That was a great moment, a great welcoming for me. And it shows the man of character he is.
Yes.
Very much appreciated. We're going to miss Robert tremendously in our
Yes,
department.
we are.
So just want to say, he's part of my family, he's part of my life. I love him, and wish you all the best, man.
All right.
Great. Robert, you want to?
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to recognize me. I feel blessed by God for the wonderful opportunity that I have here with Denton County and working for facilities. And I have a wonderful work family, skilled, dedicated people who have the same mindset of taking care of what we've been blessed with and keeping the county government operating, because that's the goal of everything that we do is making sure that the services that the people in the county need are constantly available, and that's what our purpose is. I just wanted to take a few moments to talk about young people getting into the skilled trades, because that's a big issue that we have. I know you guys are aware that we have trouble filling positions sometimes, but there are so many opportunities available for young people to get into high-paying jobs that don't require a college degree. And I don't know if you know the TV host Mike Rowe. He has an organization called MikeRoweWorks.org, and he's advocating constantly for young people to take jobs in the skilled trades, and he even sponsors a scholarship for people to go to trade school and get into the trade industries, because they're definitely very important to our economy. And I just thank you again for the opportunity I've had to work here in Denton County, and I'm looking forward to enjoying my retirement, and I definitely will be keeping up with how things are going around here, and I'll keep in touch as much as my schedule, my travel, and my car restoration allows. So thank you again very much.
You have your family. You have your family.
My work family,
Yes.
my fiance.
Anybody that wants to come on up for a picture? Work family, come on. You don't get to come in here and not come for a picture, so come on up, guys. Here to be in the middle. Right next to this beautiful lady over here. How are you, ma'am? Sneak on in, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, no, you're okay. He's going upstairs so you can take a breath. Yeah. And drop a smile for a second. Yes, sir. Thank you. Impressive. Sir, how are you?
All right, and then if I could have Jeff Inman join me up here.
Oh, Jeff.
Congratulations. Thank you. So Jeff, one of our first responders in our constable's office, and 32 years. 32. And that is great. Well, I am going to read this resolution, and then the Commissioners Court can vote on that. Hopefully they'll vote okay on that. But no, I'm sure it'll be great.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so this resolution is the Denton County Commissioners Court, Denton County, Texas, during a regular session on the 24th day of June, 2025, considered the following resolution. Whereas Jeff Inman, Deputy Constable, has been a loyal employee with Denton County since March 23rd, 1993, and will retire on July 31st, 2025, after 32 years of service. And whereas Jeff began his career as a detention officer with the Denton County Sheriff's Office, that's not an easy job, is it? And he was promoted to animal control in 1995, where he obtained his peace officer license. And in 1998, he moved to the patrol division as a deputy sheriff and served until 2001. Jeff laterally transferred to the warrants extradition unit, where he served until February 2019. And whereas Jeff was sworn into the U.S. Marshals Task Force in 2005 to honor his achievements and dedication in apprehending violent fugitives and protecting the public, and whereas Jeff transferred to Constable Doug Boydston's office in Precinct 5 as a deputy constable in March 2019, he will complete his law enforcement career with Denton County. Jeff has been a true asset to Constable Precinct 5, but Constable Boydston stated that it has been an honor working alongside Jeff for the last 6 years. And whereas Jeff intends to enjoy his retirement by traveling and spending quality time with family, in just a few months he will also begin a new career with Denton ISD as a school marshal. Well, that's great too. Get to help out the kids. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Denton County Commissioners Court, Denton County, Texas, does hereby extend to Jeff Inman our sincere and grateful appreciation for his dedicated service to Denton County. We congratulate Jeff on his well-earned retirement and extend our best wishes to him for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. come, done in open court this 24th day of June, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Well, Jeff, we'll let you talk last, but I'm going to have to give a little discussion myself here. You know, a lot of people may not know you, but you're a really good guy. And some of the accomplishments you've had over the years of your career are exciting. And working in the task force with the U.S. Marshals, that's really exciting as well. Most people probably wouldn't realize that's what you did, but you're actually just a really down-to-earth good guy. And we're going to miss you. But I see how it is. You're going to take that first retirement like everybody else and go work another gig and make another little money as well, which is well-deserved for any law enforcement officer.
Right.
But we are going to miss you, and that means we've got a void in Constable Boyston's, and so I'm sure he's fast out trying to hire someone else, but it's going to be tough to replace you. It really will be. So I really appreciate all the years of dedication to Denton County and to our citizens.
I appreciate that.
Commissioners, anybody else?
Jeff, I just want to thank you for your service to Denton County. It's a pleasure to see people that work for Denton County at least 20, 25, 30 years. We know we still have a great place to work, and people are staying here, except you get tired and you want to move on, or you want to do something different, and you want to be young enough to do that different thing. Right. And so I just want to thank you for your service here in law enforcement. We need good law enforcement officer people. So please apply. Jeff's leaving. Doug, I hope you have someone else to replace him. You can't replace him, but yeah, to fill in. We thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Well, I second everything that Commissioner Mitchell has said. We're so appreciative of law enforcement at every level. And I'm very proud of you for going to the next level, which is a marshal for the kids. You know, this is something the state has set up, and we're delighted to have an experienced law enforcement officer like yourself going into that. Thank you for your years of service. Looking forward to many more from you.
Thank you.
Unfunded mandate. Anyway, so one other thing I wanted to mention is that that is exceptional to actually be heading off and to help the kids as well. Do you, Constable, have something you want to say to this fine gentleman?
And I'm sorry, Commissioner, for the record, can you restate the motion in second and then?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The first is myself and second by Commissioner Mitchell. We'll vote here in a second.
Thank you.
Like I said in the statement there, you know, I only got Jeff for 6 years, but it was an honor to work with him. He is a perfect example of somebody that got into this profession for the right reasons. When he first came in, zero pay. I mean, you know, it was low. He made it through that stage. Next stage, people hated the police, wanted to defund the police. He made it through that stage. Here we are, 32 years later. He still can continue in law enforcement, but a perfect example of somebody that gets into this profession for the right reason.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, sir, you the last.
It has been a honor to serve Denton County for 32 years. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Sheriff Lucas hired me basically right out of high school, and I didn't know if I wanted to be a cop or not, police and law enforcement, and here I am 32 years later, and it's been a pleasure, and it's the people I'm going to miss. From my boss, greatest constable in Denton County. That's a working constable. Definitely through all my sheriffs that I work for, and all the people, lifelong friendships that I've had. I just can't replace them, but they're always there for me, and Denton County has been there for me for 32, and I appreciate the opportunity that they gave me to start and finish here.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And, but I appreciate y'all, and like I said, I'm going to enjoy my retirement as best I can. I'm still young enough to do it. Obviously, I got into it when I was young. Everybody asked me if I was a baby when I started, because I'm only 53. So, but anyway, I appreciate it, and thank you, Commissioner Williams, and thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Commissioner Edmondson, I appreciate it. Commissioner Faulkner, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, can we get the family up here?
You want to do one with your family, and then one with all your other families? We'll do one with this family, and then one with the rest of the family, which is everybody else here. The rest of the family, come on in, please. A lot of people you've worked with over the years. Come on. Okay. Come on. I want you to go right in the middle with me, Ben, if you don't mind. Baseball looks like it's going well. Oh, yeah. Having fun. Good going there. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good for you guys. That's always fun.
Whole organization's looking good. You gotta enjoy it.
Bittersweet those are, bittersweet. Okay, we're gonna move on to our public hearings. We're gonna start off on 4A. And let's see, I've got all kinds of good paperwork here. Gotta find my cheat sheet real quick. Okay. Brooke, do you want to come up for this one, please? That way, if anybody has any questions, I'm sure you can answer them. If you want to give it a little rundown real quick, you can. I'm going to read it real quick. This public hearing is to consider the revised amount of the fiscal year 2025 mandatory payments and setting and the amount of the fiscal year 2026 mandatory payments for the Denton County Local Provider Participation Fund and any appropriate action.
Do you want a motion, Judge? before we-
Yeah, I'd love to have a motion if you want.
I'll move approval.
Got a first by
Second.
Commissioner Commissioner Edmondson, a second by Commissioner Faulkner. And any discussion? We'd love to hear from you first.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Commissioners. As you may recall, last June, the Commissioners Court had created the Denton County Local Provider Participation Fund, and this is to help our hospitals and the county care for our underserved families with no negative impact to our residents, our taxpayers, or hospital patients. We are thrilled today to have the experts in the room, and at this time, I'd like to invite Michael Neal up to the podium to explain more about the Denton County LPPF and the ask today.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Hambrook.
And I'm sorry, Commissioner, we will need a vote to open the,
Oh, public hearing. I
Yes.
apologize. It is a public hearing. Yes. Can we open a motion to open the public hearing from Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Faulkner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any discussion? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We are now in public hearing. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Michael Neal. With me here is Colt Sullivan. We're with Adelanto Healthcare Ventures. We work with your local Denton County hospitals and really hospitals throughout the state of Texas on these local provider participation fund programs. With us today, we have quite a significant number of hospital representatives representing your local hospitals here in Denton County, in Prosper, Denton, Trophy Club throughout. With us today, we have representatives from HCA Medical City. They're kind of scattered throughout the room, so if y'all would just raise your hand when I call out your hospital. We have HCA Medical City. We have representatives here as well from Cook Children's, a representative from Baylor Scott and White, and some representatives from Texas Health Resources. Now, many of these represent multiple hospitals within your county. I would like to say first and foremost, thank you very much for your continued support of your local hospitals and the citizens of Denton County here. As Brooke has done, and Brooke has been wonderful working with us to navigate the ins and outs of this program in its first year. It has been tremendously beneficial for the hospitals, as she said, to allow those hospitals to use hospital dollars with no burden on the taxpayer dollars here to unlock funding to reimburse them when they provide those care for the Medicaid services for those who fall below the poverty line or the uninsured, so that your citizens here can continue to receive health care. Those LPPF programs support then the dollars back into the hospitals for continued recruitment and retention of talented physicians and nurses, and allow them to deepen their commitment to your community and to Denton County. So we're here today in support of the request to amend that LPPF rate up to 6% for fiscal year 2025, and as required by statute to set the annual rate for fiscal year 2026 at 6% as well. We're here again to show our support and, like I said, our appreciation for your continued support of this program in your local hospitals. And we're here happy to answer any questions that y'all may have about this.
I've got it.
Go ahead, sir. Commissioner Faulkner.
Thank you so much for being here. And I believe you certainly have a lot of the organizations here, but I think that all the hospitals that would be participating in this were contacted, and there was no negative opposition. There was no opposition, right?
That's correct, Commissioner. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Ms. Amber, do you have something to add?
I just want to certainly speak to that, excuse me. Yes, we are required by statute to notify all the hospitals in the LPPF with regards to the public hearing and to amend the rate or to change the rate. So that was done as well as a follow-up just to make sure that they had the opportunity to participate in the process, and today we did not receive any concerns.
And Brooke, these are only Denton County hospitals, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And the idea that it's not a tax added to the residents.
It is not, and that is specific in statute that this is not a tax.
And it's not a mandatory payment required for a patient. This is just to help those
That's
that need
right.
it.
That's correct, yes. By statute, this is not allowed as a surcharge to the hospital patients.
Okay.
No. Anybody else here want to discuss or have any, want to come in a public comment in favor of or against this option, this motion? Okay.
I move to close the public.
Move to close from Commissioner Edmondson, second from Ms. Mitchell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor, our motion passes unanimously. Let's go from 4A to 13A, and I would consider a motion. Let me get there.
Judge, don't we have to have a motion to accept this?
That's what I'm headed to right now, 13A.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, though. 13A is going to be approval of a resolution amending the amount of the mandatory payments of FY25 and setting the amount of the mandatory payments of the FY26 for the Denton County Local Provider Participation Fund and any appropriate action. I'll look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, first from Commissioner Faulkner, second from Commissioner Edmondson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I do want to say thank you to not only our auditor's office, Jeff May and Jacob Patton, and the county treasurer's office, Miss Cindy Brown, for their roles in helping us put this together. And obviously, we really appreciate all the partnerships we have with the local hospitals Obviously, this is important for our citizens that don't have the funding to take care of themselves, and this is the best way to make sure that we try to keep everybody as whole as possible. So thank you all. We really appreciate that.
And thank you, Brooke, for all your hard work.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Brooke, left you out. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go back here to 4B. 4B is a public hearing, June 24, 2025, to consider, approve, deny, and/or take appropriate action for a zoning change request in the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning District LRR-0425-0002. Property R59656 is located in Commissioner Precinct 1. Can I have a motion to open public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Faulkner is first, second by Commissioner Edmondson. All those in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. You're now in in the public meeting. Anybody? Yes, Stephen, please come on up and give us a little rundown real quick.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
There you go. Hey, Bobby.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got a zoning change request for Lake Ray Roberts for you this morning. This is here. Okay. Okay, so the parcel in question it's a 122-acre lot. It's at the southeast corner of Melton and Hewling. The property owner, or the site exists today in ag, so the current zoning for the parcel is ag. The property owner has requested R2, which is single-family medium-density estate, so that's 2 acres or greater. The intended land use for this particular parcel is R4, R5, so those are 4 and 5 acre estate lots. So Lake Ray Roberts conducted a public hearing on May 29th. We heard from the applicant who spoke in favor of the request and one resident who spoke in opposition. We send out 200-foot buffer notices to adjacent property owners, and we did receive some responses on those. We got 9 in opposition and 1 in support. So at the meeting on the 29th, a motion was made to approve the request, which failed 3-4, and so therefore the recommendation then is it doesn't get approved. It's recommended for denial. So the recommendation from P&Z to court today is to deny the zoning change request. I do have some maps, and if I need to pull the landmark map up, I can do that, kind of zoom in, zoom out. But this is the parcel in question, outlined in red. Again, it's there at the corner of Melton and Hewling. It's next to the lake. So the current zoning is ag, so all the white that you see is ag today, and then you've got kind of a smattering of, looks like R4, R5, some R2s in there as well. And then this is the intended land use. So you can see on the east side of the road, it's R4, R5, that brown orange color is R4, R5, which again is 4 and 5 acre estate lots. On the other side of the road, the yellow is R1, 2, 3, so that's 1, 2, 3 acre lots. So again, because this parcel lies in the intended land use map is R4, R5, that was the reason for the denial to the request to go to R2.
All right, thank you, sir. I do have some parties that would like to speak today, and I'd like to call Ms. Sharon Overall to the podium, please. And just a reminder, you do have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners Court. My sisters and I have 122 acres in the Lake Ray Roberts zoning area. This land has been in our family since 1962. We have all herded cows, scraped and painted barns, and pulled sunflowers on the farm. But we are in our 60s now and are not farmers. My mother died in 2023. The land has been on the market for over a year and is unmarketable as is with the current zoning. The cost of the roads and utilities make that designation too expensive to develop. We request that it be zoned R2. Mrs. Kathy Alcorn, who was the zoning staff representative who presented at the County Commissioners Court on February 24th, 2009, where the ordinance and map were approved, clearly states that the yellow is R12 and the brown area is R3, 4, 5. Some are now trying to say that she misspoke. Yet later, when my mother says R4, 5, Ms. Alcorn corrects my mother and states Mrs. Kirby's land is in the R3, 4, 5 tracts. Precinct 1 Commissioner Coleman, who was the commissioner at the time, and supported my mother in having her land designated R12. Some have stated that they wanted to stick to the proposed zoning use map. Ms. Alcorn specifically stated the map is a guide that doesn't lock the commission or the commissioner's court into only granting the zoning that is shown. Ms. Alcorn states that every classification can be requested in any area. The only concern expressed by the zoning board was that a small portion of the land is adjacent to the Corps of Engineers land. We would accept a reasonable condition that any lots adjacent to the Corps land be 4 acres. This condition would address the only concern by a few members of the zoning board. R2 is consistent with the zoning surrounding us. The land directly across the street is R12. All of this south of Loyce Road is R12. And when I asked in 2009 why this is 1-2 and it's adjacent to the Corps land, it was said, well, because there was already some zoning that was 1 and 2 in that area. And then this area right here has several 1, 2, and 3 acre lots. All of this on this side is 2 acre lots. This peninsula has 1, 2, and 3. And even east of us has 1, 2, and 3. This entire peninsula, which is adjacent to Corps land, is all 1 acre lots. And this whole peninsula over here is 2 acre lots. An R2 designation will not have an adverse effect on neighbors. It serves a substantial purpose of allowing people an affordable opportunity to live in this area. It is much more consistent with existing zoning surrounding this property than R4, as pointed out. We are asking for 2 acre lots, which will still retain a rural feel and be very consistent with our neighbors. Thank you for your time and consideration. We would like for it to be considered without prejudice for any reason it's not approved.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Anthony.
Good morning, County Commissioners.
Morning.
I support an R2 designation. There are no views of the lake from our property, so an R2 designation will not hamper views by neighbors. At the December 15, 2008 Lake Ray Roberts Zoning Commission meeting, Ms. Kathy Alcorn stated the commission would like to see large tracts around the lake view area so everyone could continue to enjoy the lake. But there are no lake views from our property. All you see is trees. This picture was taken past the bridge on Hewling, and all you see are trees. This picture was taken from Melton Road looking towards the lake. All you see are trees. This picture was taken from behind the house, which is even closer. All you see are trees. We are about 3 football fields from the lake at the only area adjacent to the Corps land. We have no benefit from being near the lake, yet we have all the negative restrictions that depreciate our land value. We tried to talk to a developer that was given, we were given their name when we met with Commissioner Williams, and his landman called me, and I talked to him thinking that he developed 4 and 5 acre lots, and he said, no, we only do 2 acre lots, and that's the only name I've been given of a possibility of somebody that would develop 4 and 5 acre lots. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. For the record, that was given to them at a meeting, just trying to give them some suggestions of people that we know have built these type sizes in those areas, and that's all that was. I have no relationship or cord to that individual or the ladies that are here today.
Yes, you were generous in giving us names, and I've pursued it, and I just can't find it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is going to be Ms. Carlson.
Good morning, Commissioner Court. I support an R2 designation. I have lived in Sanger all my life.
I have worked for Sanger ISD for 31 years. When I talk to others about how much trouble we are having getting the land zoned to 2 acres, they think this is ridiculous. No one can afford more than 2 acres, especially when you add in taxes and upkeep. 2 acres lots can be maintained by a riding lawnmower. Over 2 acres require a commercial mower or a tractor and a brush hog. Larger lots tend to have multiple outbuildings and other equipment that makes the lots look junky. I know this from experience, I've lived out there. 2 acres lots will be affordable for those who live in the Sanger area. Larger lots will cost too much and will probably be bought by those who move in from other places. An R2 designation still retains a rural feeling while allowing the lots to be affordable and manageable. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anybody else here that wants to speak in favor of or against the proposed motion? Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close.
So moved. Second.
Motion to close first by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously for that.
Commissioner,
Yes, ma'am.
there's a form here from Blair Roberts who
Oh.
says he's the owner of the property.
No, that's for 4C and E.
That's for,
So
yeah.
sorry.
Yes, ma'am, that's okay. He's up next.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I'll take a motion for, to move to approve or deny. I'll be the motion to deny the request.
I'm happy to second that, but I do have a question.
Yes, absolutely. First by myself, second by Commissioner Faulkner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those, any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and if
go.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
So
Go ahead, any discussion?
before that, yeah,
Before we
before
vote,
that.
then
So
we'll just open
Stephen,
back up discussion.
So it sounded like this whole thing with it was denied, close denial by the P&Z. Did they? It is possible to change it to the R2 with a stipulation for the 4 acres along the core property, is it not? Because it sounds like that was something that was proposed.
You could probably stipulate that. You would have to do probably a meets and bounds, parcel that out by meets and bounds, I think. This section is this zone and this section is this zone, so it's clearly delineated.
It almost seems like you could stipulate that any parcels immediately adjacent to core land has to be a 4-acre minimum parcel. But
you could, yeah. I think I might have to kind of think that through a little bit. The issue I think probably with parceling that out by meets and bounds is you kind of lock in the development options.
Right.
You really have to understand how that's going to develop if you want to lock in the lots.
So, if you don't mind, that's an excellent question, and I've discussed with the family that coming up with some alternative options that the board, the P&Z could listen to. This goes back, the last time it was updated in the 80s is when it was started, and so bottom line is what the P&Z even does is just try to keep within 1 mile radius of the lake with certain zoning. And it's really to keep definitely out commercial, but keep things either in a 1, 2, 3 to 4, 5 acre size lots. And although I feel totally for their situation, unfortunately this was designated a long time ago, and the meeting that they're referencing was definitely the lady speaking misspoke, and the vote was not about what she misspoke about. It was denied and voted for what is currently the adopted R1, 2, 3, 4 areas that you see up here. And to make sure that was correct, we actually went and checked to make sure what was exactly filed from that court meeting, and what was filed is exactly what you see today and the way it is. You know, there's variances that are given, but not normally for something this size. And so, you know, it's one of those deals where we have a suggestion that's given to us from the P&Z, and you know, I tend to follow what their suggestions are. All those individuals either live in and around, or they're appointed by the cities that are there. So that's the main reason for supporting the denial at the end of the day. But I do agree that there could be something that could be put together, and maybe they take it back to the P&Z and see what they would do. The tough part is to your point, you have to have it pigeonholes them, if you will, to certain development if you break it up prior to a developer coming in and saying, okay, this is what I want to do with it. So, I mean, it does put some burden on the land owners and or a developer. So the more stipulations you put, the more difficult even it may get harder to sell. I don't know. That's not the business I'm in. Yes, ma'am. Feel free to come back up.
The only thing that I might mention is that having served on planning and zoning for many years and serving on a council and commission, is that I oftentimes think that P&Z has a little different charge than as the voting or the elected body does. Is that I really do respect how the planning and zoning board voted, and I think sometimes, especially when it's one that close, that there are, as you said, there are things that they really want to be careful about violating, but then when we have to look at it. So I'm not necessarily saying for or against, I just don't think that has to be always the kind of thing that we stick right by.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and at the end of the day, you know, so they can't ask to be put back on for the P&Z until this particular one is totally closed.
Right.
And that's something that we've discussed as well. So I'm assuming that would be the thing that we do. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Okay, one of the gentlemen that voted for the change that was on the P&Z lives right there, or two of them.
Right.
So it was people that don't live out there that voted against it.
Yeah, do we have to have a 3/4 vote to change the P&Z? Okay. But normal it's
Majority vote with 4 of us.
Prejudice.
Good. Okay. So let's do that.
And that would be the motion that I would want to entertain then myself. So let me go back and clarify that would be the motion that I would have.
So yeah, that we're denying, but then without prejudice, they could return.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I do think.
Yes, Commissioner Edmondson.
Commissioner Williams, in looking at some of the maps that were presented today, it seemed to me that basically all around this area are the 2-acre lots. And I don't see any damage to the property values by being consistent in having that. In fact, I believe they were told by a developer that that's all he could develop. And I understand that. So that's why I'm opposed to approving the P&Z recommendation. Now, if we need to do it the way you're suggesting with a motion without prejudice or with prejudice?
Without.
Without. So if
they
they
can
can
go
come back, I would encourage you all to do that, because I do understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Commissioner?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're saying that you're wanting us to come back, but you're also saying, you know, you keep talking about having multiple different zoning, and then we're being told we can't have multiple zoning. We can only have one type of zoning. So that's very confusing on how we come back to do that, because if we already know that there are going to be some lots in here that are going to be bigger than the 2 acres. We know they're either going to have to be 4 or 10, because we have a lot of it's in floodplain. So there are lots. There's one that's probably going to be close to 10 acres. There's 2 that are probably getting close to 4 acres or even larger. So we already know that. So that's another reason why. And then you just spoke about this spot that needed to be the 4 to 5 acres within a mile. But if you look just south of us,
No, I'm sorry,
That-
ma'am, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's not, it's, the P and Z is a mile from the end of the edge of the lake to a mile out is what it covers. It doesn't cover just 4 and 5. That can be any ranges.
Right, but if you see that right to south of Loyce, all of that area is all yellow. And that's, you know, the 1 and 2. And then like I showed you on my map, all those peninsulas have the 1 acre. They already have the 2 acre. So but for us to ask for the 2 acre now, because like I just said, you're telling me I can't just come in and say I want part of it 2 acres, part of it 3 acre, and part of it 4 acre, and yet that's what you're wanting us to have. And so we're kind of like in a conundrum.
So ma'am, that's not exactly what we're saying. I think you're misunderstanding that then, I'll try to make sure I'm clear and fair to you. What we're saying is that you need to come up with a couple options that you can go back to the P and Z. They're the ones that will give the suggestion of, you know, you'd give the suggestions to of what it would or could look like, and they would be the ones that would approve or deny that, and then it would come back to us. So
We can't, I don't know, if we came in with something to the P and Z zoning and said, okay, we kind of have this layout, and we don't have a buyer yet, we're not going to ever have a buyer that's going to come in, a developer that's going to say, oh, we're stuck with your plan. There's no way in the world a developer is going to purchase a piece of land with those kind of restrictions. It's just not done. Now, if we said a couple of lots next to it, you know, anything adjacent, if that was it, you know, like if someone made a motion right now to say R2 with any adjacent lots being R4 or 5, you know, that would be certainly acceptable to us. We understand that. But we're kind of getting caught between two things, where you're wanting one thing, and yet it's not able to be done, and a developer is not going to be able to go in and say, we accept what you just came up with. But we have had several developers who say, oh, you're R45, they walk away immediately.
Would you clarify again the makeup of the P and Z committee? How many of them actually live in that area?
I know 2 of them lived in the area. They said they lived in the area. The chairman, I'm not for sure where he lives.
he lives in the area as well. So, let's define area. This is, obviously Lake Ray Roberts is huge. So all of them but a couple live in the actual Lake Ray Roberts P and Z. That doesn't mean they live next door to these ladies' property. They live in those areas.
Within the P and Z's?
Yes, ma'am. They live within the P and Z.
No, the Sanger.
That's what I said, not all.
Oh, okay. The Sanger representative, he doesn't live in this area. He lives on the other side of I-35.
Yeah, he lives in Sanger, and that's.
But it's the other side of I-35.
Pilot Point has a representative, City of Denton has a representative, and so does the Sanger. And then the Commissioner's Court has the rest.
Yeah.
And everybody that's on the Commissioner's Court lives in the P and Z. We don't control, obviously, what Denton, Pilot Point, and Sanger decide. I think a couple things that everybody has to understand and consider here. This is something that's, and you can see where it's consistent with the color variations. The yellow is more of the outlying, and the brown is more of the end. That was designed on purpose a long time ago. This is not something that's been, you know, has there been some exceptions in certain areas? Absolutely, obviously there has been. But this was set for a certain reason. Now, the other thing you have to realize too, if we start going against what the P and Z rules and regulations are, then the next group that comes in wanting to do the same thing, I'm a big believer in you can't tell one yes and the other one no. Right. So you got to be careful what we're going to set here, our presidents. And right now, with all the development that's going on, we're having the P and Z is going to get a lot of pressure from the same type of situations. There is plenty of there's plenty of acreage that has been sold, and unfortunately your situation has not been as quick as you would like, obviously, but it's not that it cannot be sold. It's making it obviously a little more difficult for a developer to buy it because of, obviously they want 1 and 2 acre lots. Why? Because that's how they can make more money, the developer.
Commissioner, is it possible to have Commissioner Falconer make a motion, as he was discussing earlier, with the land adjoining the core property to be able to be for?
Yeah, you can.
Well, we can't do anything until we.
Yeah, we have to, because I've already made the one motion and I've got a second. So, I mean, you can deny my motion and then do what you want.
It's your precinct.
Yeah. Yeah, believe me, I'm the one that has to deal with
Yeah.
the repercussions one way or the other. And again, I want to help these young ladies out as much as the next person. But again, I have to stay, we as the P and Z and us as a Commissioner Court has to stay, in my opinion, stay very focused on what the what it was designatedly set up for back in the day. And just so you know, there's only a couple lakes in the state that have P and Zs like this. So this is a very unique situation. There's other, the state has parks that have very similar type designations where they have somewhat of a say-so on what the development in and around that area is. And that's what we're dealing with. They're trying to control the development in and around within a 1 mile radius of Lake Ray Roberts. And that goes all the way around. That's not just our county, that's in 2 other counties as well.
Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
If I might, I think, and it may be Stephen may want to come back up, because I wanted to a little bit address the concern about what do you actually do. I think it sounds like that it's possible that, certainly without the prejudice, they could come back to the P&Z and they could ask for an R2 again, but with some stipulations or something, if it's meets and bounds or whatever, that would then potentially, well, not potentially, it would go back through the process all over again, right? With a difference of, right now it's just R2, right?
Correct.
The other thing that you can always also, fairly common, that you can work a contract with a buyer contingent on zoning approval. And so if you did have a buyer that then said, hey, this is what we do, then you could come back through and see both of those. But if we're doing it without prejudice, you could return to the P&Z almost immediately, right?
Could, sure, yep. You know, a PD theoretically could be an answer, plan development. Right. The problem with that is it's a little more involved. The P&Z has to approve site plans, and there's a lot more, so you have to be further down the road with a PD to know how that lot's going to be developed, really before you've kind of broached that PD subject.
But I think, because I'm going to tend to defer to the commissioner, since it's his district, that I think that your thought is that we aren't just saying no. It's
No,
like, hey,
absolutely.
We can work through some possible
Yes,
options.
we're not saying no.
Right.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Stephen, if these people would need a little help in drawing up what they are going to present again to the P&Z, are you able to help them with that?
Yeah, we're certainly willing to help. We can't make assumptions on what P&Z will and won't approve,
Oh, no, I
obviously.
understand that.
But yeah, we could work with, certainly work with them to make sure because there are a lot of width parameters that you have to, meet, and I don't know, once you start kind of parceling those up, what that looks like. If you say it's anything that abuts the lake, I don't know until we look at it, but yeah, we're always willing to work with folks to
Thank you, I think
try
that
to
would
get
be
them where they
helpful.
need to be.
At the end of the day, obviously, that's what we're trying to do. We've got some folks that want to sell some property, and obviously, we want to work together to try to make it where works for everybody. That's the plan, which I know is not easy, and I really appreciate you, lady. Yes, ma'am, do you have something else? If you'll come to the stand, please.
We had a buyer who wanted to come before y'all, and y'all won't even speak to a buyer. You will only speak to the owners. So that is also another issue here. He's like, they won't even speak to me. You have to, as the owners, you have to go in and get the zoning. So they won't even go into, because we had a contract, and with them to do that, wasted 3 months with them, and they're like, okay, well, we can't, they won't even talk to us.
Well, when you say they won't talk to you, who are you talking about? Because I've never been asked to be talked to by anybody other than yourself.
Zoning can't work with them.
Oh,
They
okay.
can only work with the owner.
Mr. Belknap?
Yes, so when you make an application, the owner has to make the application.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
A builder or developer can't make the application, it has to be the owner.
Yes.
But they can discuss
I'm sorry?
they can discuss it if the owner has made the application.
Yeah, we're always willing to discuss, but
Yeah.
the builder can't, and we've done that in the past,
Sure.
where, again, we try to work with folks as best we can. But again, the developer or builder can't make applications.
So,
It has to come from the
is this a
owner.
fair assumption or ask that if they apply or ask for a meeting and they bring a builder with them, obviously you've got the owner there, can you have that conversation
Sure.
of somewhat then?
Sure.
Okay.
But the owner has to be involved. We can't.
So who told you that you couldn't?
The people who are looking at purchasing it, of course, they can't go in for the
Direct.
zoning change.
Exactly.
And they told us we had to do it. But now, since you were up here, I wanted to ask you, you're saying we can come in and meet with you, but you're wanting a plan, which like I said, I've already said, a developer is not going to look at a plan. There's no one, if, this person walks away, another buyer is gonna come in with an exact plan. So what exactly can you do if you have an R2 that you could then stipulate that? See, I don't think there is anything. You either, like my husband's in site planning. He says you're either this zone or you're this zone. There's no such thing as multiple zones as you were, talking to us about you would like to have us have.
Well, it's called a variances that we can put together, or exceptions that we can put together is what it would amount to, and what again, these are suggestions because I don't know what the P and Z would say. The suggestions would be to come up with something that looks a lot more of a lower or a higher density, which is what that is asking for, and see how that would look. And I will tell you right now, I've been here now almost 5 years, and Mr. Belknap's office has always been very eager to work with multiple folks. I've had meetings with him and the owner and developers, and we've had discussions. So more than welcome to have that, and I would be happy to obviously be involved in that.
But if you get the approval on that, and you don't have a buyer at this point, like I said, all the ones right now walk away. So if you already have that, they're not gonna come in and purchase a piece of land that has that. So it needs to be an R2 or an R3 or an R4. You can't do that without an exact plan. We don't have an exact plan because we don't have a specific buyer who has an exact plan to come in with that. So we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Well, obviously, it's going to take the right buyer that's willing to sit and work with you to figure that out.
That's why we're asking for an R2, so when we have buyers who will come in and look at that.
Sure.
And I also did want to point out again that when they were doing this entire area is 1 and 2. This is the lake. This is the foreland. They made all that 1, 2. That's the yellow area. That's just south of us. That is all 1, 2. So the fact that it needs to be so different, and all this was R2, that far away from the lake, it just kind of, why was this ever this way? And as I said, Mrs. Alcorn said at the time, I believe you were there, that it's because, well, there was already some zoning there that was 1 and 2. So because we were staying on a farm, my mother was still alive, and she wanted it as a farm until she died, and she did not lie. She said, it's gonna stay this way until I can't live here. She lived there until she fell her last fall, and then she was in the hospital, and then she passed away. So she did not lie. She wanted us to stay ag until she could not live there anymore. But she had wanted it to be R12 back in 2009. And the precinct commissioner at the time wanted her to have the 1-2 designation.
I was on the court, not at the meeting.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes.
The other thing that I think is important for everybody to understand is there was 9 people that opposed this as well. There was one that lives in the area, because we obviously have to send those letters out. So, obviously the area, the community that lives there does not want 1 and 2 acre lots.
Right.
And I'm sure some of the people that obviously live there have a 1 and 2 acre lots.
Yes, they do.
But the majority of them are larger lots. Yes, ma'am.
Out of those 9 people, 2 of them are my children, and that land was given to them as a gift because she wanted.
If you'll come up to this, I'm sorry, ma'am.
I've lived there all my life. I've lived out there.
Yes, ma'am.
Out of the 9 people that live out there, some of them are very good friends, but my daughter and her husband who live out there, that land was gifted to her from my mother. And then the other ones that live out there aren't even planning on staying there. They're fixing to move. One's moving to Oklahoma, the other one's moving somewhere else. So I don't understand why it's such a big deal for us to be 2 acres. And some of the people who are living out there right now have divided their lands without telling anybody. They just put their mother-in-law out there or whatever. So,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, it's sort of a contradiction.
Yes, ma'am. I can appreciate
Commissioner,
that. Yes, yes, ma'am.
this is your area, and I am willing to support whatever
Yep.
you wish to do with it.
Me too.
But I think what we're seeing is a very complicated issue that we can't really make a final decision on today.
That is correct.
And what you're suggesting is that there may be a compromise situation that you all can, working with our development department, that you all could come up with, given perhaps a potential buyer, but, you know, I'm not prepared to oppose your motion any longer, Commissioner.
No, I appreciate that, Commissioner, and again, yeah, that's what it really amounts to, is unfortunately, this happens throughout, where you're kind of, some are here, some are there, and there's been some things in the past that were approved way before I ever have been involved here, and with the developments changing rapidly and so many people coming out here, this is where it's so important to make sure that we really follow what has been put in place many, many years ago, to protect in and around the lake. I mean, and that's what the P&Z was put in place for. And that, by the way, is the state that approved all that. That's not like we just locally, decided to put our own deal together. So, but I definitely, appreciate everybody's input. We appreciate you ladies being here. It's, I understand it's a tough situation for yourselves. And we want to work with you the best we can, and please, you can reach out to my office and we'll help put those things together and have some more discussions.
Okay.
So again, I'm going to make the motion, and I'm going to change it with, without prejudice, to deny, the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
The second was Commissioner Faulkner?
Commissioner, you want me to just read it?
Yeah,
So
please do. Yeah, I'm
maybe
sorry.
we can-
Yeah.
So it would be denial of zoning change request in the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning District, in parentheses, LRR-0425-0002, in parentheses, comma, property R410040, comma, without prejudice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Motion by myself, second by Commissioner Faulkner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion denied unanimously. Thank you, ladies. We really appreciate that.
And I hope you'll continue to work with them.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what my office does.
Forward to seeing it back soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everybody's input. Okay, we're moving on to 4C. Public hearing Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, to consider, approve, and/or take appropriate action for a special use permit in the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning District, LRR-0425-0003. Property R41040 is located in Commissioners Precinct 1. And I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
First from Commissioner Edmondson, second from Commissioner Mitchell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now, motion passes unanimously, and we are now we are in public hearing. And is there anybody here that wishes to speak in favor of or denial of, or opposed, I should say, to this zoning change?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, sir, come on up. This Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Okay,
My
Mr.
name's,
Roberts.
Blair Roberts from
Thank you for
Pilot
waiting
Point.
so long.
Oh, that's
You're
fine.
up to bat.
That's fine. My intention is to beat the 15-second record that
Yes.
set earlier today.
better
But
hurry.
I'm the owner of the property that's associated with agenda items 4C, D, and E.
Okay.
And my intention today, I don't have any specific comments, but I'm here in case there are any questions come up on the
Okay,
project.
wonderful. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Stephen?
Mr. Belknap? This high-tech stuff we have.
Okay, so we've got three separate agenda items for special use permits. These are all on the same piece of property. Okay, So this is a 123-acre parcel. It's located on Merrill Road. The property is currently zoned ag. The property owner is operating an equine facility out there. They've requested some special use permits for accessory dwelling units. Those are required in ag for an accessory dwelling unit. Again, on May 29th, P&Z conducted a public hearing to consider the case. We heard from the applicant who spoke in favor and one resident who was in opposition. And on the mailouts, we received 2 responses, one in favor and one opposed. And so the SUPs are for 3 different items. There's a bunkhouse, there's a breeding manager's house, and a guest cabin. And these uses are all pretty consistent with this type of facility. Again, it's a 123-acre parcel. It's a horse place. P&Z voted unanimously to approve or to recommend approval of all 3 requests, and so that's the recommendation before court today. Here is the site. Again, it's a 123-acre parcel. Site plan, that stuff's a little smaller than I thought it would be, but anyway, we've shown the guest house, the breeding manager's house, and the bunkhouse, and all of those setbacks exceed the minimum setbacks for this type of facility. And just real quickly, the floor plan, so this bunkhouse, the breeding manager's house floor plan, and then the guest house floor plan. And again, the recommendation was unanimously that P&Z recommends approval of all 3 SUPs for this property.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bonnet. Anybody else here speaking in favor or against? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I'll move to approve the special use permit. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Edmondson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 4D is public hearing Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, to consider, approve, and/or take action, appropriate action for special use permit in the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning District, LRR-0425-0004. Property R414040 is located in Commissioner Precinct 1. Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second. Second by Commissioner Mitchell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We're now in public hearing. Anybody here to speak in favor of or opposed to this request? Anybody here speaking for or against? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I'll move to approve 4D for the special use permit.
Second.
First by myself,
Question,
second by Commissioner, yes, ma'am.
How does this vary from the one we just passed on 4C? Is it?
It's just another piece.
Just one of the other buildings.
It's one of the other, yeah, because there's 3. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank
I
you.
wish it would let us do all 3 at one time, but it doesn't.
That's fine.
So,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
I move to close the public hearing.
Oh, I thought.
Now we're on E.
Yeah, we're on E. We're good, right? You got everything, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. 4E, public hearing Tuesday, June 24, 2025, to consider, approve, and/or take action for a special use permit in the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning District, LRR-0425-0005. Property R414040 is located in Commissioner Precinct 1. I'll take a motion to open public hearing.
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Faulkner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We're now in public hearing. Is anybody here wishing to speak for or against? Anybody here wishing to speak for or against? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close.
I so move.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I'm going to move to approve 4E.
Second.
Motion by myself, second by Commissioner Mitchell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
There we go.
Take a 10. Now break. Okay. 5A, approval of bill report payments from CSCD Community Corrections, TAIP, Sheriff Training, Sheriff's Forfeiture, VIT interest, and DA forfeiture funds are presented for recording purposes only. Mr. May.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no changes today. Recommend approval as presented.
Okay. Can I
So
get-
moved.
First by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Commissioner Mitchell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Okay, motion passes unanimously. 6A, approval of renewal of RFP 24-2833, painting, staining, and transparent finishing services to Gomez Flooring Covering Incorporated, and any appropriate action. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
First by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 6B, approval of purchase of access camera and equipment from Mobile Communication America in the estimated amount of $86,655.61 through the Texas Department of Information Resources Cooperative Contract. Yes, ma'am? No, it's through purchasing. But who's it for? No, it's going to be for one of the law enforcement, I'm sure. Because it's the cameras that are used on, in-car cameras. Yes, ma'am. Contract DIR CPO-4494, and any appropriate action.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 6C, approval of specification and authority to authorize for CSP 25-2875 Stony Store Restoration Appointment Evaluation Committee to include Alec, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this last name, Zadorny? Zavati, okay.
Zavadny.
All right. Construction Coordinator, Public Facilities, Megan Joplin. Historical Park Manager, Office of Historical and Culture, and Peggy Riddle, Director of Office of Historical Culture, and any appropriate action.
I move approval.
Move to approve by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 6D, approval of purchase of Cisco networking equipment from Presidio Holding Incorp. in the estimated amount of $1,197,239.65 through the Texas Department of Information Resource Cooperative Contract DIR-CPO-5347. Any appropriate action?
Move approval.
First by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All of those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 6E, approval of award of RFP 25-2862 CMAR Civil Courts Building Remodel by Byron Construction Services, and approval of pre-construction fees from 2010 PI bonds, and any appropriate action.
Commissioner, I have a comment, and then I'll
Yes, please.
move approval. So for all, the courts would remember, this is our civil court remodel of the Sally corporate headquarters that we purchased. So this is the construction manager at risk. And so we are currently, as you know, we'll be having very shortly a presentation to you from HOK, but this will is for assigning Byrne Construction to be that construction manager for us.
Perfect.
And move approval.
First by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Commissioner Mitchell, or Edmondson, I'm sorry, correction, Ms. Edmondson. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 7A, report of miscellaneous equipment and software services presented to recording purposes, or presented for recording purposes only.
Yeah, we don't have to do.
Anybody? Nope, okay.
Oh, yeah.
7B, approval of budget amendment request 101260 for Sheriff's Administration transfer $5,900 from technology software services to capital equipment to fund the purchase of a live scan fingerprint system. Any appropriate action?
I'll move approval.
Approval from Commissioner Edmondson, second from Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 7C, approval of budget amendment request 101270 for the probate court number 2 to transfer $45,000 from salary assistance to substitute court reporter to provide additional funding and any appropriate action.
I'll move approval.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 7D, approval of budget amendment request 101280 for the Sheriff's Office to transfer $91,058 from technology software services to technology capital within 2015 tax note fund. Funds are needed to cover the purchase of an automatic dispatch and dispatching and alerting system with an additional 1-year warranty and any appropriate action.
I'll move approval.
I'll second. First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by myself. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 8A, report from Human Resources regarding hiring actions of elected officials, presented for recording purposes only. Mr. Hernandez.
Court members, good morning. We have one promotion in the district clerk, one new hire in Justice of the Peace, number 5, 3 new hires in juvenile probation, 4 new hires in the sheriff's office, 3 detention officers, 1 and 1 deputy sheriff, and 2 new hires in the tax office. That's it for this week.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. That's for recording purposes only. 9A, approval of Health and Human Services Commission, Women, Infants, and Children, local agency contract HHS 0008031000001, revised notice of award for FY 2025 and any appropriate action.
I'll move approval. Second.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 10A, approval of campus addition final plat, lots 1 and 2, block A-501 acres, located Commissioner Precinct 4.
I move approval.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 12A, approval of 2025-2027 memoranda of understanding between the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Denton County Sheriff's Office as an approved allied agency for the commercial vehicle weight enforcement and any appropriate action. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Move to approval by myself, second by Commissioner Faulkner. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 12B, approval of the 2025-2026 interlocal cooperation agreement between Denton County and the Argyle Police Department for the use of the Denton County radio communication system and any appropriate action.
I'll move approval. Second.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 12C, approval of the 2025-2026 interlocal cooperation agreement for shared governances, communications, and dispatch services systems between Denton County and Argyle Police Department. Any appropriate action?
I'll move approval. Second.
First by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We've already done 13A. We're on to 14A. Approval of interlocal cooperation agreement for property tax assessment and collections between Denton County, Texas, and each of the following entities: Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1, Sanger Independent School District, Brookfield Water Control and Improvement District of Denton County, Denton Independent School District, City of Crum, Denton County Municipal Utility District Number 6, City of Corinth, Highway 380 Municipal Management District Number 1, Town of Argyle, as recommended by the Denton County Tax Assessor, Collector, and any appropriate action.
Move to approve.
First, motion approved by Faulkner, or Commissioner Faulkner, second by, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Oh, okay. Commissioner Edmondson, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 14B, approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between Denton County, Texas, and the Town of Argyle for collection of special assessment levied by the following entities: Waterbrook of Argyle Public Improvement District, the Highlands of Argyle Public Improvement District 1, as recommended by the Denton County Tax Assessor, Collector. Any appropriate action?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 14C, approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between Denton County, Texas and City of Aubrey for collection of special assessments levied by Paloma Public Improvement District as recommended by the Denton County Tax Assessor Collector and any appropriate action. I'll move to approve.
Second.
First by myself, second by Commissioner Faulkner. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 14D, annual, approval of the mutual aid agreement between Denton County and the Northwest Independent School Districts to establish clear protocols, roles, and responsibilities for emergency assistance and resource sharing during disaster response and recovery efforts. Any appropriate action?
I'll move approval. Second.
Approval by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 14E, approval of fire arson task force interlocal agreement for investigation and, where'd I go here? Oh, prosecutorial cooperation in arson cases in Denton County, Texas, entered into by and among the City of the Colony, City of Capel, City of Corinth, Lake City's Fire Department, City of Pilot Point, City of Sanger, Town of Little Elm, Town of Prosper, Town of Trophy Club, and by and through the Denton County Fire Marshal's Office, Denton County, Texas, any appropriate action.
Move approval.
First by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Commissioner Edmondson. All those, or any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 14F, approval of additional funding for the professional services agreement between Denton County, Texas and LJA Engineering Incorporated for the Denton County Outer Loop Project from I-35 to Dallas North Tollway, total cost of $28,564,658 with authorization of additional funds to increase the current funds appropriated in the amount not to exceed $15,064,658 with funding to come from the Outer Loop Judge Trip 22 Auditor 94-7361-90-60 and any appropriate action. I move to approve.
Second.
First from myself, second from Commissioner Faulkner. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Good.
Woo-hoo. We're almost there.
One more.
14G, approval of additional funding for the professional services agreement between Denton County, Texas and Pachuco Coach Consulting Engineering LLC, now Westwood Professional Services Incorp. for the Loop 288 East US 380 connector project from US 380 to I-35 at a total cost of $13,200,000 with authorization of additional funds in the amount of $2,200,000 with funding to come from Loop 288 East Frontage Roads Judge Trip 22 Auditor 94-7460-90-60. Any appropriate action, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Approval from myself, second from Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes, sir.
I misspoke on item 4B where we had the
Oh, my
motion,
gosh.
motion to deny the zoning change request. I just need to, I misspoke on the property ID number.
Yes, sir.
So I would just ask that the court would vote again.
Okay.
Denial of zoning change request in Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning District, LRR-0425-002, comma, property, and this was the mistake I made. It should have said R59656.
Yes, sir.
Without prejudice. And instead I said R410040. So I think since the property parcel ID is identifies the property that we should correct my
Make sure it's
mistake.
correct, yes.
I apologize.
Nope, thank you for catching that. I move to approve the denial.
Second.
First by myself, second by Commissioner Faulkner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously to deny.
And with
With,
Without
with,
prejudice.
without prejudice, which he stated originally. Okay, thank you for that, though. Appreciate you catching that. We definitely don't want any clerical or misspeakings on the record. Okay, we're gonna go to community updates 17. Let me find, you know what? I'm gonna have Commissioner Faulkner go first, please, sir.
Thank you, Chair Williams. So obviously we are not meeting next week, so happy Independence Day to everyone next week. Be safe out there, and we've got several of those events happening in Precinct 2, and I'll just go through some of the others first. So in Carrollton, there's a neighborhood Thrive at Maryhead's Carter Park. That's on the 25th from 10 to 2. Crossroads has their summer market. That's on the 28th, 8 to 11. That's at 424 and Fish Trap. And then in Denton, the world's largest swim lesson. I don't know if that's a Guinness World Record or not, but June 26th, 9 to 9:45 at the Civic Center pool. And then Frisco Coffee and Culture, the 25th, 8 to 9 at the Frisco Discovery Center. They have their summer movie series, the 27th from 8 to 10, and that's at the PGA Parkway. And then Little Elm has their farmers market at the Lawn on the 28th from 10 to 2, and that's at the Lawn. And then on the 4th of July events, we have in the Colony, we have Liberty, there's several in the Colony. There's Liberty by the Lake, that's on the 4th all day, and that is at the, what used to be the 5-Star Sports Complex, is now called the Athletic Club. They have the Liberty 5K Fun Run on the 4th at 7:30 in the morning at Stewart Creek Park. I will not make that, unfortunately, 7:30 in the morning. And the Colony's Independence Day Parade, July 4th at 10 a.m. That's at the Colony High School. Might make that one. And then in Little Elm, the Red, White, and Beach. That's on the 4th, 8 to 10 at Little Elm Park. And then Frisco has their Freedom Fest on the 3rd and the 4th, 6 to 10 at Simpson Plaza, and fireworks on the Fairway 2025 at the PGA District from 6 to 10. And then Carrollton has their Independence Day concert on the 3rd from 11 to 1 at the Senior Center. And then their fireworks show on the 3rd at 9:30 p.m. And that's at the lake at Josie Ranch Lake. And that is all I have.
Wonderful, Commissioner. Commissioner Mitchell.
Lake City's Trade Days on the 27th, 8 a.m. to noon on Lake Dallas Drive. Louisville has the Sound of Louisville tonight at 7 p.m. at Wayne Ferguson Plaza. Also have a petting zoo for the kids from 6 to 8 p.m. 4th of July events, Copper Canyon has their 4th of July celebration, 10 a.m. to 12. Flower Mound has their Independence Day Children's Parade, 10 a.m. on July 4th, and then the Fest 25, July 4th at Duncan Lang in Bakersfield Park. And Lake Cities have a parade and celebration, June 28th, 9 a.m. parade, and lots of fun, events, and food.
Wonderful. Commissioner Edmondson.
Well, Commissioner Faulkner, in Denton, we're having the world's largest swim lesson.
Yes, that is in Denton.
Yes, it is, and it says that this is a swimming lesson where people from around the world are participating simultaneously. So I guess we'll have some from your precinct and my precinct and Commissioner Williams' precinct. Would you care to join us, Commissioner Mitchell?
Not at this time.
Thank you. In Roanoke, we're having evenings on Oak Street, June 26th, 6:30 to 8. And then let's talk about 4th of July parades. Denton County is so patriotic. I'm so proud of that. And anywhere you want to go, there's going to be a 4th of July parade. In Denton, they've got the Yankee Doodle Parade downtown around the courthouse on the square from 9 to 10. And then at the Denton Senior Center, they're having an Independence Day celebration for ages 50 plus at noon to 2. Then the Kiwanis are bringing a fireworks show back to Denton. I'm so excited about that. It's actually going to be at the Denton Fairgrounds, and it'll be the first time in several years that we've had a professional massive fireworks display. It'll be from 6 to 10. And in Double Oak, they're going to have their parade and picnic They're going to start that at 9, and they hope to be through with their picnic by 2. Hazlet has an Independence celebration in their community park at 6. Lantana has an Independence Day parade from 10 to 1. New Fairview has their fireworks show at 6:30 p.m., so you can go just about anywhere in the county and see fireworks. Roanoke has an All-American Fireworks and Festival from 5 to 10 on July 3rd. And then Historic Oak Street, City Hall Plaza. And Trophy Club has a 4th of July celebration. Their parade is at 9 o'clock, and the festival is from 6 to 10:30. Let me also mention that Robeson Ranch is having their parade at 9 o'clock, and they've enlarged the route this year. So any of you who would like to come watch, that would be great. Judge Eads and I were both invited to be in the Robeson Parade and the Trophy Club Parade. Unfortunately, they both start at 9 o'clock, so I don't think we're going to make both of them. But anyway, there's just so much going on. Y'all don't forget what the 4th of July is really about. It's not just hot dogs and fireworks. It's about the birthday of our country. So thank you all much.
Wonderful, Commissioner. I have a few things today. I've got Salina Assistant Police Chief graduated the FBI National Academy, which is a huge honor. That's Salina's Assistant Police Chief Brent Brown. He did graduate the 294th session of the FBI National Academy, which is a pretty cool honor. We do have a lot of festivals going on in Precinct 1. Aubrey has Freedom Fest at the Ranch, July 4th, 5:30 to 10 p.m. That's going to be off of Blackjack Road, Rancho de la Roco Retreat Ranch. We're going to be in Salina. Also has Splash and Blast, June 28th, 5 to 10 p.m. That's Old Salina Park. Oak Point Freedom Fest 2025, June 28th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's at Jake's Place Park. Prosper Pride in the Sky Independence Day celebration, July 1st, 5 to 10 p.m. That's going to be at Frontier Park. And Providence Village Independence Day Parade, June 28th, 10 a.m., Monaco Elementary. And Sanger Freedom Fest, June 28th, 5 to 10 p.m., and that's going to be at the Porter Park. Obviously, tons of celebrations going on. From the county's perspective, there will be no Commissioners Court on Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. Denton County offices will be closed Friday the 4th for Independence Day. Offices reopen Monday, July 7th at 8 a.m. One other thing I would like to do, I really want to thank all of my co-workers, commissioners for today. I appreciate all the support and the help. I want to thank the judge for the opportunity and confidence. I want to thank Teresa and her office. I don't think everybody understands the amount of work that goes behind the scenes to get these agendas put together and everything placed. There's a lot of work that happens to make sure these things occur. And so I want to thank their office. Ms. Hambrick, thank you for all your help today. Capricia, which works in my office, thank her as well for helping me be prepared for today as well. And thank you for all enduring my lack of performance this afternoon. So anyway, we do not have any executive session today. And it is without any other business at 10:58. Commissioners' Court is over. Yeah.